All right. So today we're going to do something a little bit lower tech than what Connor showed us earlier. We're going to be talking about Oobabooga for local chat, like Oobabooga, but Oobabooga. I had a couple goals going into this that I wanted to talk about. One of them was, boom, testing various local solutions and models so you don't have to use something like OpenAI. In addition, I wanted to compare it to more complex offerings like OpenAI. Excuse me, I keep saying OpenAI, excuse me. Testing different models and parameters quickly. So we're going to talk about a specific model today and learning some of the RAM limitations based on a MacBook Pro. So this MacBook Pro has 32 gigs of RAM. I wanted to see what I could run locally pretty much. And in addition, I wanted to create chatbot characters locally. So that was kind of the idea. Now, this is just a caveat here. This is not ready for production use. I'm just testing, messing around. It's pretty low tech in comparison to some of the other things we were doing. So some of the initial findings, I found this application called Oobabooga. It's a text generation GUI. It's a fun way to test these models locally, which is really cool. And with 32 gigs of RAM, I seem to be capped at models that have about 13 billion instructions or parameters, which is pretty good because there's a lot of them out there. And I tested one with one specifically called Dolphin Llama, which is pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to point out, as Connor mentioned, innovation is happening really quickly in this field, specifically with open source models, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So Dolphin Llama. Dolphin Llama is an open source implementation of something that is coming out eventually called Microsoft Orca, which is a competing model. Super easy. Dolphin Llama is non-commercial use only. It's built on top of a model, large language model called Llama 1. And there's about 3.5 million instructions that the model's fine-tuned with on top of Llama 1. Now, it's limited to 2K, about 2,000 context. So we're going to see that really quickly as well. And I wanted to talk about Orca AI because this is what's really interesting. So it's not released yet, but it's another 13 billion large foundation model. So foundation models are really intended to serve as a basis which you then build upon, basically. It's very similar to large language model, basically the same thing. Now, what's different about this is that it learns by imitating the reasoning process of other LLMs. So unlike traditional AI models that are trained on, vast internet text and stuff like that, it's quite a bit different. And also the fact that Microsoft is actually working on Orca AI and putting this out, while they also have a stake in OpenAI, is kind of interesting too. So Orca also appears to be on par with ChatGPT 3.5, and I can say that based on just some tests that I do see that as well. And again, keep in mind, this is all local. We're not reaching out to an integration. And we do see also another thing that's happening is Microsoft's partnering more with Meta, which is, of course, interesting. So one of the things that it talks about here is that explanation training, again, what we were talking about, which is step-by-step explanations versus, again, just like doing more prompt-based response on the fine-tuning. So that's pretty cool. And then just a quick graph. Now, granted, Microsoft did put out this white paper here, but you can see that it's outperforming ChatGPT as evaluated by GPT-4 on a specific evaluation set. So that's kind of cool. So let's see a demo, right? Okay. But before we do that, what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at really quickly how to load the model. We're going to look at something called LoRA or LoRA, low rank adaptations of large language models. But what's interesting about this, it's very similar to fine tuning, but I'm seeing things like the GPU memory requirements are basically a third of what they are compared to fine tuning. Wow. So innovation's happening really quickly here. So you'll see a lot of LoRAs as it relates to things like stable diffusion, which is another model. So so again, just to kind of further put this out, reduces storage requirements for specific tasks too. So again, making it easier to run these things locally. We'll look at quickly at parameters, basically a set of generation parameters, and also a couple characters that are based on context. Some conversations can be added in there, and also greetings. So install is really simple. Go to this website, download the zip file, extract it, and then just run that command. And boom, you got it working. That's it. Now, let me go ahead and actually pull this up. This is sort of the moment of truth, isn't it? Okay, so we can see here I have it running locally on my machine, and all I had to do to get this running was really straightforward. When I did experience issues, I just ran the installer again, and it ended up working. I did run into some problems, but you can see here, we just go ahead and load up the model. I'm going to load the Dolphin Lava model that we talked about. Load it. We can see that it's successfully loaded over here. And then it has a parameters, grouping where you can test different parameters, which is really cool. You can create different chat settings. So I created something called GloomyBot. I gave the context, actually created the context from GPT-4. I actually asked it to create the context for me, which is kind of fun. And then you can talk with it, which is even more fun. Let's go to text generation here. Here's GloomyBot. Hi there, tell me something sad. Now it takes a second to warm up. To me. Chatbot, so.
Oh my God.
Can you read it?
Sure, here's one. Over 1 million species are at risk of extinction due to climate change. That's about 10% of all known species on Earth. So I did fact check a couple of these. Things, and it seemed to be pretty accurate. Tell me something else said.
Oh my God.
So you spend some time you spend, hours doing this on the weekend, and you're like, I need to kind of switch this out a little bit. That's why we also created
Gigi and Ryan Gosling.
Come on, Gigi. Okay.
It takes a while to type with pause.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Gigi can do that. Great. Thank you. Please stop peeing. And that's it. Unless you all would like to see Ryan Gosling. Any questions?
That was amazing.
Yeah, and keep in mind that's all local. Doesn't reach out to any service, at least I'm aware of. I didn't run it through like local or little snitch or anything. So, yeah.